Hey everybody, welcome to G for G. We are back talking about Cyberpunk 2077. Who knew that after the first video that I did on this game, we would be back talking about the game so incredibly quickly. And this time, let me tell you, things are super spicy. We are talking ghost pepper reaper mega spicy at this one. One of the core tenets between a game developer and consoles has been thoroughly broken by CD Projekt Red. And we'll get into that. But first, let's talk about why we have to get into that conversation. And that is the PlayStation 4 version of CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk 2077 was so bad, it didn't hit Sony's bar for customer satisfaction. Sony has decided to go ahead and remove it from the PlayStation Digital Marketplace. People who purchase the game and are not satisfied with its performance finally can seek a full refund. You just need to go to this link where it takes you to Sony's website, you log in, and you submit your request. They issued a statement. SIE strives to ensure a high level of customer satisfaction. Therefore, we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased Cyberpunk 2077 via the PlayStation Store. Sony will also be removing Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store until further notice. Once we've confirmed that you purchased it via the PS Store, we will begin processing your refund. Please note, completion of the refund may vary based on your payment method and financial institution. So, why is this a big shock? Well, it's a big shock because originally, PlayStation was not playing nice with CD Projekt Red's statements. You'll remember in the first video that CD Projekt Red said, sorry, we kind of bugged up on this one. We released a bit of a shitty game here. So we'll take care of the refunds on the PC. But for you console players, go ahead and get your refunds through the console. And both Sony and Microsoft kind of did a Chris from Family Guy. We're like, what? Excuse me? Things were a little bit easier on the Xbox side, although nobody's really talking about Stadia, believe it or not. Things were a little bit easier on the Xbox side, but on the Sony side, Sony was like, no, we're not refunding you through us. You want a refund, you go back to them. You go tell your dad that mom said so. I mean, Sony was not having it because behind the scenes, CD Projekt Red did not secure this with anybody. They didn't call up Sony and Microsoft and be like, hey man, listen, we released some tripe over here and we want to bail these people out. So just want to let you know, like, give them refunds. They didn't do that. This statement that CDPR made took everybody by surprise when it came to the consoles. So, Sony just kind of being who they are and being a real tough pain in the ass when it comes to support, they were like, no, we're not giving you refunds. And people were getting really upset. And they're like, but CD Projekt Red said so. And Sony was like, I don't care what they said. They didn't set this up with us. Go to them. Here's this letter that you can tell them it's their deal. So, gamers were getting bounced around like kids in a divorce where none of the parents wanted the kids. And none of the parents wanted to pay for the kid to go to college. So, that's the high level, very visible part of this debacle over here. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, so that explains what's going on for the refund. Sony is putting it back on themselves. They're like, okay, we'll take care of it. Why Why the sudden change of heart? Why the stonewalling on the refunds all of a sudden to be like, yeah, you can get one? Where's the spiciness in this? Well, the spiciness is a high-level, behind-the-scenes agreement. A shake hands under the table agreement that nobody breaks and nobody has broken was broken for the first time with CD Projekt Red in this situation. I've got a good friend of mine who lives in Florida, and he is in development, including having worked at EA on some of their projects. And he still has friends who work at EA. And he had a conversation with them about this. And this is what CD Projekt Red did as a direct quote from him. So I talked to some of my buddies who work at EA, and supposedly CDPR screwed over Microsoft and Sony in a way that was literally unheard of before. The only reason Cyberpunk got through the certification process of being, a game that is releasable on the digital marketplaces of Microsoft and Sony, and also just being a certified game on those consoles, is that there's a good faith agreement that if you tell a platform owners stuff will be fixed in day one with a patch, they'll believe you and let it through the certification. So essentially it's like on a Friday night going up to your drug dealer and saying, hey, listen, man, I'm a little short today, but I'm kind of going out to a club, so can you still give me my normal stuff, and I'll just give you an extra 20 or 10 or $20 on Monday or something. And they'll be like, yeah, you're good for it. You've never screwed me over on this. Here, go ahead, have some fun, kiddo. That's the agreement these game devs have with Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo and so on and so forth. It has never been broken before, and it's not something you mess around with. In other words, I know you're good for it, because if you're not good for it on Monday, I'm sending Tony over here to your house, not to break your kneecaps, but to break your wife's kneecaps. And you're going to watch. And then he's probably going to take your dog and throw him in some traffic. You don't want that, do you? That's the agreement that occurs between these game devs and the consoles. So you don't screw around with that. If you know there's something going on, you assure them that, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. We've got some issues, but we're going to have a big patch day one. And that's why you've seen in history people get a game and install it, and day one there's a big patch. That's why there is now a meme of sorts going around like Facebook and social media that says, if you were gifting games to your kids and everything, blah blah blah, sign in, install the game, sign in, let it patch, blah blah blah, beforehand, so that they can play it almost straight out of the box. It'd take me a while to dig something up like that. I've seen it a few times on Facebook as November was transitioning into December. It was just kind of a guide to parents to be like, hey, it's the equivalent of getting batteries, so that when your kid opens the gift on Christmas, you just slap the batteries in. They can play right then and there, instead of waiting for the day after when you got to go out to the store and get it. That happens a lot. We've all seen the day one patches. We've all seen day one patches being super huge, and people going, oh, installed the game 2 hours later, still couldn't play it, big patch, slow. So that alone, according to my friend, that alone is legitimately enough to burn a massive amount of bridges, since now the entire process got fucked over and had to be changed. But CDPR turned around and told people to go to Sony and Microsoft for refunds, all without asking for their permission or having any sort of agreement. The people I know in the game dev world are in awe of how horribly CDPR has screwed the platform owners over, and said it's going to have massive repercussions. So this is like John Wick 4, John Wick 5.5, movie plot over here. CDPR not only didn't give out the day one patch that fixed the stuff that they knew about, now they went ahead and said, yeah, don't worry. The consoles will take care of it. It's like somebody coming up to that person in this drug-related scenario that I'm talking about. On Monday, you pay the dealer. Well, you haven't paid the dealer, actually, because the day one patch didn't happen. So Monday comes around, you haven't paid the dealer the normal amount or the extra 10 or 20 bucks you're going to give him. Somebody comes up to that guy and says, hey, where's the money you owe me? And then you say, nah, you know what? I'm really good to my dealer. I pay him a lot of money. Go get my money from my dealer. And then the person goes, well, okay, well, that makes sense. So now this guy's gone up to the dealer and said, where's dude's money? And the dealer's like, what are you talking about? I don't even have my money from him. I'm not going to give you what? So that's where this huge breakdown is. Because CD Projekt Red, as he continues to say, dropped a nuke on the good faith agreement that nobody has ever broken. They took the good faith, spit on it, tore it up. It's like some scorched earth level shit. And for context, Skyrim took 100 people 3 years to make. And it got memed for having some bugs, but largely came out okay and was incredibly feature-rich. Cyberpunk took 500 people 9 years to make, and cars don't even pass. They just stop and pile up in the road if something blocks them. Like, how does this happen? What dumpster fire is going on inside CDPR to lead to this level of a train wreck coming out after that much money, time, and manpower? So when people defend Cyberpunk and they sit there and they say, oh, other games have had their bugs too, remember this, and Skyrim and Red Dead, blah, blah, blah. It's the Thor meme. Like, did it really? Do you think so? Do other games have this level of people's dongs hanging out, cars not pathing, crashes to the home screen on the consoles, really terrible performance on older gen hardware, Reddit once again having to come through with a self-service fix for like AMD and its performance issues. I don't know if Nvidia is having the same issue and whatnot, but I mean, this is my comment to my friend who was telling me all of this is like how to go from beloved company darling to EA in 5 easy steps. I mean, this is not what we would expect from CD Projekt Red, a game house that won everybody over when they said we wouldn't do crunch, and then they did, and they said there wouldn't be like these, pre-order bonuses and pre-order bonus, and Keanu Reeves comes to your house and cooks you 3 meals of your choice. If you buy the deluxe edition, if you buy the super deluxe edition, Keanu Reeves just straight up moves in with you. They didn't do that. They had a model that everybody was pretty happy about. And CD Projekt Red, just as a was just a well-liked company to begin with. And then what they were doing for this game seemed to continue to win everybody over. But then there was the delays, and it's obviously good there was a delay, but apparently that delay really didn't get them anything. There's no net positive from this. And now you have CD Projekt Red's relationship with everybody just being so tarnished. The consumer is not happy because they got a delay and then they got a buggy mess. The consumer's not happy hearing crunch happened after all. And then they were sent to fight the console supports by going up to them going, can I have my refund, please? And they're like, no, but, like, wait, CD Projekt Red said so. Here's their statement. Well, we know what they said. They didn't run that by us. We don't care what they said. We're not falling into it. So that, I mean, here, this caused the loss of gamers' trust and the reputation we've been building through a big part of our lives. That's why our first steps are solely focused on regaining those two things. We concentrated on fixing Cyberpunk on last-gen consoles. The first substantial set of fixes will be released over the weekend. The next set of fixes will be released within 7 days. Big updates are planned for January and February, blah, blah, blah. They really have screwed the pooch on this one. So that's an update on Cyberpunk 2077 and what's going on over here, and probably the first and only, and God help us all, the last time this major handshake from game devs and consoles are just, hopefully it's never broken again. It's, who would have thought CDPR would be the first company to really take that handshake and shove it up their asses and get poo stains on it. So that's clearly what happened here. So if you are playing it on a PlayStation, go get your refund while the getting's good. If you want it. I mean, you're certainly entitled to sit there and let it sit on the console. And as a matter of fact, you are at an impasse here, because it's not like PT, where the system would remove it from you. It's just being delisted, which is probably Sony saying, you know what, you screwed us over with this. We're yanking your game until we're happy that you can certify. That's really what's happening here. But the game is still playable if you leave it on your box. If you get the refund, my guess is that it probably kicks off an automatic uninstall of some sort. I can't imagine you get the refund and then just leave it on the box and now you have a free game. There's probably something in place there to set that up correctly. I know I had to do that with Warcraft 3 when I got my refund, and I lost my bonuses. I lost the Mountain World of Warcraft that came from pre-ordering Warcraft 3, but that one was really, really bad in everything they did with that one. But yeah, if you want to keep the game and hope that the fixes come out, do it. It's not like it's missing content like No Man's Sky or, you know, things like that. But yeah, or now I almost kind of feel sorry. Well, it's not a kid's game. I was going to say I kind of feel sorry for parents who maybe didn't get it yet and need to get this for their kids for Christmas. But this just doesn't really seem like the kind of thing you would gift a kid with, you know, penis hanging out. Anyway, that wraps it up for me on this second video of CD Projekt Red. Hopefully we're not back here again in a few days talking about some other crazy debacle with it. Peace out, everybody. See ya.